She was given to him as a slave, but she was actually an alien princess. The market was loud and filled with smoke. Creatures from across the galaxy shouted over each other, trading weapons, scrap parts, and sometimes people. Cole, a human scavenger, walked through the crowd, his jacket covered in dust, his boots heavy with mud. He wasn't looking for trouble, just spare parts for his old ship. But then, something caught his eye. A cage stood in the corner, hidden by shadows and guards. Inside it, a girl sat on the ground, chained and silent. She looked alien, with silver blue skin and long white hair, tangled like a net. Her eyes were glowing faintly violet, but she kept them down. Bonus item for tonight's deal. One of the slave traders laughed. She's small, but expensive looking. Take her or leave her. Cole frowned. He didn't like slavery, but refusing the deal would cost him the weapon parts he needed. So he nodded, acting like it didn't bother him. The trader grinned, threw a collar remote to him, and walked away. The deal was done. As the guards unlocked the cage, the girl didn't move. When they shoved her forward, she stumbled, but didn't cry out. Cole caught her before she hit the ground. Her skin was cold, too cold. She looked up at him for the first time, and something in her eyes made his chest tighten. Back at his small ship, Cole sat her down in the corner and gave her food and water. She didn't eat. She stared at him, quiet, almost too calm. He tried to speak gently. "What's your name?" She stayed silent. He sighed and walked away. But something strange happened when he stepped into the light. A soft glow shimmered behind the girl's ear. Cole turned back, stepped closer, and brushed her hair aside. It was a mark, not a tattoo, not a scar, something royal, something forbidden. It looked like a glowing crystal sigil, shaped like a crown with wings. Only one kind of person had that mark in the galaxy, royal blood. Cole stepped back in shock. You're a princess." She looked up slowly, her lips moved for the first time since he met her. "If they find me," she whispered, "you'll die." Cole froze. "Why were you in that cage?" "I ran," she whispered. "They killed my guards. My ship crashed. They thought I was dead. I hid, but someone found me, sold me to that market." Cole rubbed his face. His day had gone from simple to suicidal. "Why didn't you say something?" "If I tell the wrong person," she said, "they'll cut off my head and send it back to my planet. My people would go to war." Cole stared at her. "What's your name?" She hesitated, then said Valera. The name echoed in his mind. He remembered hearing it on the news once. Missing princess of the Zalari Empire, they said, a royal ship lost in deep space. Family mourning, reward offered but no body. "Ever found Valera?" he repeated. "Okay, listen, I'm not going to turn you in." She raised an eyebrow. "You don't believe me?" "I believe you," he said. "That's what worries me." Silence filled the ship. She finally reached for the water, sipped it slowly, then leaned back against the wall. Her eyes closed, but her body stayed tense, as if expecting danger at any moment. Cole stood watch at the doorway, his mind racing. He had come for spare parts. Instead, he now had a royal fugitive on board, someone the galaxy would kill for or kill to protect. And she had been given to him like some throwaway item. Something wasn't right. Why would the slavers give away someone like her? Unless someone wanted her to be found. The thought chilled him. He checked the collar remote, frowned, and tossed it on the table. "If that thing's rigged, we'll remove it soon." She opened one eye. "Don't try unless you know what you're doing. If it goes off, it'll fry my brain." "Great," Cole muttered. "This just keeps getting better." Outside, thunder rolled through the clouds. Storms were coming, and maybe worse things with them. But inside that little ship, the game had already begun, and Cole had just placed himself on the board. Cole barely slept that night. The storm outside shook the ship, but it was the silence inside that truly bothered him. The girl Valera hadn't moved from her spot. She didn't cry, didn't panic, didn't even ask for food again. She just sat there, calm like a soldier waiting for orders. He watched her from the control seat, trying to understand what he had gotten himself into. She didn't act like a normal slave, not like the others he had seen before in the markets. There was something sharp in her silence, something dangerous in the way she didn't beg for anything. When morning came, he placed a small bowl of warm food in front of her. "You should eat," he said quietly. She didn't answer, but this time she picked it up, ate slowly, eyes never leaving him. Finally, she said, "You didn't ask me why I didn't run away." Cole leaned against the metal wall, arms crossed. "You had the chance. There was a blade hidden in the crate outside your door," she said calmly. "I saw it last night. I could have used it on you while you slept." Cole tensed, but didn't show it. "So why didn't you?" "Because," she said, wiping her lips with her sleeve, "you looked like someone who might actually listen." He exhaled slowly, not sure if that made him feel better or worse. The next few hours were quiet. He ran maintenance checks while she moved around the ship, silent and watchful. She didn't ask questions, but she touched everything like someone who knew tech well. Too well. At one point, she paused in front of the ship's comm panel, her hand hovering just inches from the controls. Cole saw her from the doorway, trying to call for help. He asked. She didn't flinch. "No, I was checking to see if you already had." He stepped closer. "I didn't." She nodded, as if confirming something important. "Good." That evening, a merchant ship landed at the nearby outpost. Cole went out to trade quietly, trying not to attract attention. But the merchant, a fat green-skinned creature named Braca, leaned in close during their talk. "You still flying solo, human?" he asked with a crooked grin. "Heard someone spotted a girl with you last night. Not local, is she?" Cole forced a smile. "Just cargo," Braca chuckled, but his eyes narrowed. "Cargo with curves. Maybe. Listen, if you're trying to hide something, better be careful. The market bosses don't like surprises." Cole finished the trade and walked away, heart beating faster. Word was spreading already. Back at the ship, Valera was waiting by the airlock, her expression unreadable. "Someone saw me?" she asked. "Probably," Cole said. "We don't have much time." She walked past him into the ship's main room, then suddenly stopped. "You should know something," she said softly. "That collar around my neck isn't just a tracker. It's a kill switch. It connects directly to my nervous system. If the wrong person activates it, I'm gone in seconds." Cole blinked. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because," she said, turning toward him, "I want you to take it off." He stared at her. "You just said it could kill you, and you're smart enough to figure it out," she said, "or brave enough to try." Cole didn't know if it was courage or stupidity that made him agree. He brought out a small toolkit, scanned the collar carefully. It was old Zelari tech, way beyond anything he had worked on before, but as he studied it, he noticed something else, a hidden number etched inside, a royal code. Valera saw his eyes widen. "You understand now, don't you?" she whispered. "I wasn't just any princess. I was the chosen heir. If I die, the line ends." Cole leaned back slowly. "You're worth a whole planet, and someone wants that planet for themselves." As Cole worked on disabling the Kala, neither of them noticed the tiny red light blinking in the corner of the ships. Someone had tagged their location. By the time he clipped the last wire, and the collar fell to the ground, silent and harmless, a small beacon had already been sent to a distant ship in orbit, and on that ship, a bounty hunter read the signal. The princess was alive, and now, they knew exactly where to find her. Darkness fell quietly, but danger did not. Cole had no idea a signal had already been sent. He thought they had time. Maybe a day or two before the market bosses started asking questions, but far above the planet, in orbit, a bounty hunter's ship shifted course, silent as a shadow. The hunter had one purpose: capture the lost princess alive, or return her head for a higher reward. Inside the ship, Valera stood before a mirror, looking at the mark behind her ear. It pulsed faintly. Now that the collar was gone, her expression was calm. but her fingers trembled slightly as she tied back her long silver hair. The girl in the reflection didn't look like a princess anymore. She looked like someone who had survived too much, lost too much, and wasn't sure if she still wanted to be found. Cole was in the back, rewiring a broken scanner panel, when he heard something strange movement on the roof. Light, but quick, not wind, not animal. He grabbed his blaster, motioned silently to Valera. She nodded once, picked up a metal rod, and crouched behind the door. Cole stepped outside, boots crunching, on the dust-covered ground. There was nothing there, but something felt wrong. He turned back to Ward. The ship hand saw it, a tracking dart lodged in the hull, still glowing, still active. He reached to pull it free, but the instant his fingers touched it, a voice echoed. Through the speakers. "Return the girl, human," the voice said, low and cold. "You have 1 hour." Valera was already at his side, her face pale. "That's a Krell bounty code." "They're here." Cole didn't waste a second. He sprinted to the ship's control panel, started the engines. "Can we outrun them?" he asked. Valera shook her head. "Not unless you've upgraded this junk heap in the last 5 minutes. A loud thud hit the side of the ship. Then another. Then silence. Cole reached for the "We don't want to fight. Leave now, and you." "Live," the voice returned, this time amused. "The princess is worth more than your entire species. And you, human, are just a meat shield. Move aside, and I'll make it quick." Valera's hand landed on Cole's shoulder. "Let me out," she said softly. "They only want me. They'll let you live." "No," he said without hesitation. "You're not going anywhere." She looked at him for a long moment, then nodded once. Together, they prepared. Cole handed her a stun blade, and she moved like someone who had used one 1,000 times before. Her stance changed, her expression sharpened. The scared girl was gone. In her place stood the future ruler of a broken empire. The side of the ship exploded inward as the bounty hunter stepped inside, clad in black armor, visor glowing red. A second later, 2 more followed, all armed, all silent. Cole opened fire first. His blasts were fast, but not fast enough. One hunter ducked and fired back, barely missing Valera's shoulder. She didn't flinch. She moved in a blur, ducking low, sweeping one enemy's legs and stabbing the stun blade into his chest. Electric light danced across his armor as he fell. The second one lunged toward her, but Cole tackled him from behind. They crashed into the wall, fists and elbows flying. Cole's nose broke, blood running down his face, but he didn't stop. He slammed the enemy's head into the console until the light in his visor went dark. Only one hunter remained, the leader. He pointed a plasma rifle at Valera. "You've made this difficult, princess, and you've made it boring," she replied, then vanished from sight. She moved like wind, faster than his eye could follow. The blade slid between his armor joints with a hiss. His rifle clattered to the floor before he did. Cole leaned back against the wall, breathing hard. "Remind me never to fight you." Valera knelt beside him, checking his injuries. "I warned you. I'm not a normal girl." He laughed, wincing in pain. "Yeah, you're definitely not." But then his smile faded as he looked at the mess around them. 3 armored bodies bleeding on his ship floor, the scent of smoke and metal in the air. "What now?" he asked. Valera stood, her eyes glowing brighter than ever. "Now, they'll send more," she said, "and we have to stop running." Far above, in the stars, the Krell warlord, who had sent the bounty hunters, received the last signal from his team. He smiled, not in anger, but in excitement. "The princess fights back," he said. "Good, let's make it interesting." And he pressed the button to begin the real hunt. The smell of burnt metals still filled the ship. 3 bodies lay cold, but Valera didn't look at them. She was staring at the stars now, her eyes tracking something invisible, something only her blood could sense. Cole sat beside her, his shoulder wrapped in bandages, breathing slow but steady. She hadn't said a word since the fight, Not about the kill. Not about the way her hands had moved like a trained assassin. Not even about the fear in her eyes after it was over. Cole finally broke the silence. You've done this before, Valera. Didn't look at him. I was trained from the age of 5. Royal children don't get to be innocent. He nodded slowly. So what now? We wait for the next squad to drop in through the roof. No, she said quietly. We make them come to us on our terms. She walked to the back of the ship and pulled off a panel Cole had never opened. Behind it were 2 bags sealed, marked with the old crest of the Zelari Empire. She placed them on the table and opened one. Inside were memory drives, royal codes, and a small round device that hummed softly when touched. This is a locator beacon, she said, but not the kind that brings hunters. This one calls something old or something loyal. Cole raised an eyebrow. You sure it still works? Valera didn't answer. She simply pressed her finger to it and whispered a code. The device blinked blue, then green, then let out a sound like a heartbeat. It's done, she said. If there's anything left of the Royal Guard, they'll come. Cole shook his head in disbelief. You're serious? You want to go to war? I want to survive, she said sharply, but I also want to matter. I don't want to be a lost name in some broken archive. He watched her quietly. You're more than a name already. She didn't reply, but her eyes softened. Just a little. Hours passed, and the signal flew across space, past broken satellites and dead planets. Somewhere deep in the void, it reached a forgotten station, and inside that station, something ancient woke up. Old protocols activated. A long-dormant AI spoke a name it hadn't spoken in years. Valera, of House Tenrel. Request received. Back on the planet. Night fell again, but this time it felt different, heavy, like the air was watching. They moved the bodies outside and burned them. Valera stood silent by the fire while Cole watched from a distance. There was something sacred in the way she stared into the flames, not like a warrior, but like someone saying goodbye. He stepped beside her. We're not alone anymore, are we? She didn't answer right away. No, and we won't be for long. Suddenly, a sharp beep echoed from the ship's radar. Cole ran inside, checked the screen. A ship was approaching fast, too fast to be local. He powered up the defenses, grabbed his blaster, and yelled, "Incoming!" Valera didn't flinch. She stepped into the light of the landing gear as the ship hovered above them, dust and heat blasting down from its engines. It wasn't a bounty hunter ship. It was older, sleeker Solari make. The side hatch opened, and 2 figures stepped out, one in dark armor, the other in robes lined with silver threads. Their eyes locked on Valera. She raised her hand, showing the mark behind her ear. I am Valera, rightful heir, and I command your loyalty. They knelt instantly. The one in robes spoke. We never stopped believing you lived. My Princess. Cole watched, stunned, as the guards activated a protective field around her. One offered her a sword, the kind only carried by royal blood. She took it, not like someone receiving a gift but like someone reclaiming what was always hers. The guard turned to Cole next. And who is he? Before Cole could speak, Valera answered. He's the reason I'm alive. He's not just my protector, he's my ally. The guards nodded, but their faces showed doubt. Cole could feel it. He didn't care. Later that night, while the guards scanned the area for more threats, Cole sat with Valera beside the ship. She handed him the royal blade, letting him feel its weight. It belongs to you, she said, not by blood, but by right. He looked at her, confused. What does that mean? It means, she said slowly, you've already proven more loyal than most of my people ever were. Before he could respond, a scream rang out from the nearby hills. One of the guards came running. We found something, he shouted. Or rather, something found us. Valera stood quickly, eyes narrowed. Then it begins. Cole followed her into the night. Not as a smuggler, not as a scavenger, but as the first human to stand beside an alien throne. Whatever was out there, they would face it together. The sky was too quiet. Cole knew the sound of trouble, and this silence felt like the moment just before a trap snapped shut. He followed Valera and the armored guards up a narrow path, the wind hissing between broken rocks like whispers from ghosts. The scream they'd heard had vanished into the air. No echo, no blood, nothing left. The guard who had called out was missing now. One moment he had been standing by the cliffs. The next gone, Valera knelt near the edge of the path, her fingers brushing the stone. She touched something wet, dark, and thick. Not blood, not oil, something older, like it had crawled out from under the ground. "This isn't from bounty hunters," she whispered. "This is something else." Cole's hand tightened on the hilt of the royal blade. He wasn't trained for this. But he wasn't going to back down either. Not now. Not after all they'd faced. "What is it?" he asked. Valera's voice was cold, steady. "A creature called the Ash Veil. It was created during the war to destroy minds, not bodies. It feeds on fear. It hunts in silence. And it was banned by every known empire. Centuries ago." "Banned?" Cole asked. "Then how is it here?" She stood slowly, because someone powerful brought it back. That night, they returned to the ship. Silent and uneasy, the guards set up a wide perimeter with motion mines and light towers. Valera walked straight to the storage room and opened the second sealed bag she had taken out before. Inside were only two things: a datapad and a worn crown wrapped in cloth. She handed the datapad to Cole. "This is my proof," she said. "Every secret, every war plan, every betrayal in the Empire's past. My mother hid it here before she died, and now I understand why." Cole scrolled through the files. One caught his eye, Project Eater. He tapped it, and the screen lit up with an old video log. A Zellery scientist spoke directly into the lens, his face pale, sweaty, afraid. "We warned them," he said. "But they created it anyway. The Ash Veil cannot be controlled. Once it learns a mind's fear, it uses that fear to consume them from inside. Royals are immune, but everyone else dies slowly." Cole swallowed hard. "It's already seen us." Valera didn't answer. She picked up the crown instead and stared at it. "This isn't just about me being a princess," she said. "They're trying to wipe out my entire bloodline, not for power but to cover up what they did." Cole stepped forward. "Then we exposed them. Send the files to every system that still listens." She shook her head. "They'll block it, erase it, twist it. No one trusts royalty anymore. They'll say I forged it. Then what do we do?" he asked. Valera turned toward the ship's center console, reached for the command node, and pulled it out completely. The ship groaned, lights flickering as she placed the node into the datapad. "We don't tell them," she said. "We show them." Moments later, a hologram flickered to life above the ship, massive, glowing, and visible to every scanner in orbit. It showed Valera's face, then the project logs, then the names of those who had funded the Ash Veil's rebirth. Cole stared at the projection as it pulsed into the sky. Unstoppable now. "You just made yourself a target for the entire empire," he said quietly. Valera smiled. "Good, but..." Before he could reply, the lights flickered again. Only this time, it wasn't the ship, it was the stars. Something had blackened the sky above them. The Ash Veil had arrived. It didn't fly. It didn't run. It drifted, like black smoke wrapped in shadows, stretching over the horizon like it was part of the night. The guards opened fire, but their weapons passed through it like wind through fog. One screamed before his body dropped, lifeless. His mind burned from the inside out. Valera stepped forward, holding the royal blade, and screamed a command in her native tongue. A barrier activated around the ship, ancient golden, humming with power. The Ash Veil slammed against it, but didn't enter. "Only the crown stops it," she said, sweat running down her face. "As long as I live, it cannot cross." Cole looked at her. "Then we never let you fall." But deep inside the dark mist, something moved, something thinking, something angry, and it whispered a name. "Cole," it said, "you fear your past. You fear being weak. I will show you what you truly are. His hands shook for just a second, but then Valera grabbed them, firm and unshaken. You're not alone anymore, she said. The veil screeched as if it had heard something it couldn't understand, and for the first time in centuries, it stepped back. The ash veil did not leave. It circled the golden barrier, like a starving beast, searching for cracks. It whispered in a voice that wasn't real, but still somehow reached into the hearts of the living. The guards struggled to stay calm. One by one, they dropped to their knees, not in pain, but in fear. Valera stood at the center of the glowing circle, her hand gripping the royal blade. Her breathing was shallow, but her eyes were sharp. She knew the shield wouldn't last forever. It was built to protect one life, Hearst, not a camp of survivors, not a war. Cole watched the shadows moving along the edges, saw memories flash in his mind, his mother's death, his failures, the time he almost sold his ship for food. They weren't dreams, they were attacks. The ash veil was testing him, pulling his pain out like poison. But something was different this time. He didn't fall. He looked at Valera, and the fear shrank back into the corners of his mind. She turned toward him, noticing it. You're resisting it, she said, surprised. I'm not alone anymore, he whispered, repeating her words from before. The golden barrier shimmered, brighter now, pulsing in sync with the rhythm of their heartbeats. It wasn't just royal blood that gave it strength. It was willpower, courage, connection. Valera's eyes widened. We can use this. Cole stepped beside her, still gripping the blade she had given him. Then let's do it. She opened the second interface on her datapad, a hidden sequence only the heir could access. This activates the Ember protocol, she explained quickly. It will burn the shield into the ship's system and convert the core into a weapon against the veil. He asked. No, she said, a weapon that can lock it away again, just like they did the first time, but I need time to complete the override. Cole turned toward the shadow. Then I'll buy you that time. The guards looked at him like he was insane. One stepped forward. You're not trained, human. You'll die out there. Cole didn't blink. Maybe, he said, but she won't. Valera didn't stop him. She simply handed him a secondary blade, smaller, lighter, but forged with old Zelari steel. Strike only when it's near, she said. Don't let it touch your skin, and don't listen to its voice. He nodded, then ran into the storm of shadow. The veil hissed as he crossed the edge of the barrier. It reached for him, but he was fast, ducking low, rolling, slashing through empty air. His blade didn't cut the shadow, but it pushed it back, like a light pushing fog, inside the ship. Valera's hands moved quickly across the console, the datapad flashing red warnings. The power core was resisting the override. She had only one chance to do this without killing everyone. Outside, Cole shouted, It's learning, Valera. It's getting faster. I need 2 more minutes, she yelled back. But the veil was tired of playing. It formed a shape now, something like a body, long and black, with no face, only a mouth that opened too wide. You think you matter, it said in a voice that sounded like 1,000 dead soldiers. You are just a mistake in time. Cole didn't answer. He just ran straight toward it, yelling with everything he had, and threw the blade directly into its center. The veil screamed. Valera slammed her hand down on the final command. The entire ship lit up, golden light blasting from every surface. The shield cracked, then exploded outward in a pulse that tore across the land, burning shadow into dust. The veil wailed one last time, then silence. Smoke rose from the ground. The night sky returned. The stars flickered overhead like distant witnesses to what had happened. Cole lay still at the edge of the blast zone, his body bruised and burned, but breathing. Valera ran to him, knelt down, and grabbed his hand. Her voice broke for the first time. Don't die on me. Not after this. His eyes opened slowly. Was that part of the plan? Mostly, she whispered, laughing through the tears. The guards stared at them both in awe. Not just because the ash veil was gone, but because a human had faced it without breaking, without armor, without fear. Valera stood and looked too. The sky, now the real war begins, she said, and I know who I want by my side. The stars above seemed to shimmer in response, but far, far away, in a throne room of cold metal and lies, a masked figure watched the entire scene from a distance, and for the first time in decades. He frowned. She's alive, he said quietly, and the human is still with her. Shall we send another army? Asked a voice in the shadows. No, the figure replied. Send a wedding invitation. Let's see how far she's willing to go. 3 days had passed since the ash veil was destroyed. The skies were clear now, the air calm, but the peace didn't feel real. It felt like the pause before another storm. Cole stood on the cliff edge, arms crossed, watching the sun rise over a broken land. His wounds were healing, slowly. But something inside him had changed. He wasn't just a scavenger anymore. Behind him, Valera stood in full royal armor, the ancient Zellery crest glowing on her chest. Her white hair was braided now, her eyes sharper than ever. But even with all her power, she looked at Cole like she still owed him something more than thanks. A transmission had arrived that morning. Not a threat, not an attack, but an invitation. It came from the heart of the Empire, where the usurper ruled from behind a mask. The message was short and chilling. Return to your palace, princess, and bring your human with you. Let the galaxy watch as I offer you peace. At the altar, it wasn't a wedding proposal. It was a trap. Cole paced back and forth. It's suicide, Valera. You go back there, and they'll kill you the second you walk in. I know, she said, voice steady. That's why I'm not walking in as a victim. She opened the storage crate near her quarters, revealing a hidden capsule no one had touched in years. Inside was something even the guards didn't know existed. Crown fused with ancient tech, forged only for one purpose: command over the Empire's hidden fleets. Valera looked at Cole. If I wear this, I won't be able to run anymore. Every camera, every soldier, every planet will know I'm alive. There'll be no turning back. Cole nodded. Then I guess I better wear something nice. They flew into the heart of danger in a stolen ship marked with the enemy's own flag. The guards stayed behind. Valera and Cole entered alone. Like two fools walking into a lion's den, but this time, the fools had teeth. The royal court was packed with nobles, soldiers, spies, and cowards. The masked emperor sat on a throne made of stolen bones and gold. Valera walked down the aisle in silence, her back straight, her eyes burning. Cole walked beside her, not behind her. That alone made them whisper. The emperor stood. Welcome home, princess. I hope you brought the files I asked for. She stopped. A few steps away. I brought something better. She reached into her cloak, pulled out the crown of command, and placed it on her head. The room gasped. Soldiers raised their weapons too late. The crown's signal activated a deep pulse. Across the system, from the darkness above the city, ancient warships blinked to life's lorry ships no one had seen in decades. They hovered like ghosts above the palace, their cannons pointed downward. Valera stepped forward. Your rule ends now. The emperor didn't flinch. He removed his mask slowly, revealing a scarred face, half machine, half man. His voice was soft. Then take the throne. If you can. He lunged, but Valera didn't move. Cole did. The human tackled the emperor midair, blade flashing, metal clashing. The room erupted in chaos. Nobles ran, guards shouted, but no one stopped the fight at the center of the hall. Cole and the emperor crashed against the steps, fists flying. The emperor struck with unnatural strength, but Cole had something stronger. Purpose. He fought for more than himself. He fought for her. With a final cry, Cole drove the blade into the emperor's chest, right between the machine parts. The man gasped, then fell silent. Valera ran to Cole, caught him before he dropped. You're not dying, she whispered. You're not allowed to. He smiled weakly. Wasn't planning on it. Later. She stood before the galaxy, crown on her head, Cole beside her, scars on his face, pride in his eyes. She spoke not as a queen, but as someone who had survived. I was sold in chains, forgotten by my own blood, but a human, a stranger, gave me more loyalty than my empire ever did. From this day on, our worlds stand together, not as conquerors, not as rulers, but as protectors of those who have no voice. The galaxy watched, and for the first time in centuries, it listened. That night, in the quiet of her royal chambers, Valera sat beside Cole, her hands slipped into his. No ceremony, no words, just a simple truth between them. You were never just my protector, she said softly. You were the reason I became more than a princess. He squeezed her hand gently. And you were never just a slave. They looked out the window together, stars glowing above them, like promises waiting to be kept. And somewhere in those stars, a new story began.